Hey guys, Dusty the White here for the Cult of Dusty. And for those of you who watch my show, you know that I don't really do rebuttal videos very often. People talk shit about me all the time, and to be honest, I don't really give a shit. But recently, apparently the Drunken Peasants did a piece on me, and even their own fans were messaging me saying, this is by far the dumbest thing the Drunken Peasants have ever done. This is the dumbest piece in the history of the Drunken Peasants. And it's about you, so you should do a video talking about it. Even this kid, who is a giant fan of theirs, made a 12-minute video just eviscerating these guys for how dishonest they were about my positions. A lot of their fan base seemed genuinely disappointed in them for basically outright lying about me, and they wanted my opinion on it. So okay, here it goes. I'll give my opinion on it. Let me set up a little background for this. So last week I made a video called What's Worse Than Social Justice Warriors?, in which somebody asked me my opinion on what I thought was more important for me personally to cover than social justice warriors. And so I gave my opinion on what I think right now is actually worse than what the social justice warriors are doing and what I intend to focus my channel on. I've done 3 videos about the subject so far, and in my latest video, the video the Drunken Peasants are literally critiquing right now, I say this. But look folks, I'm not trying to tell anybody what kind of videos they should make. That's not my business to fucking tell you what to make. That's not my business to tell you what to watch, and I don't have the moral authority to do that. All I can do is point out the problem as I see it, and then focus on what I can do personally to make things better, and that's what I want to do. So here is the Drunken Peasants' very bizarre response to my video.
Plus, old false dichotomy Dusty is back. So now, because global warming is a problem, we can't talk about free speech.
What? The hell are you even talking about? Who said you couldn't talk about free speech? I specifically said everybody's allowed to talk about whatever the fuck they want to do. Right off the bat, they're lying their ass off about what my position is. Explain yourself.
I was just going to say, like, what he's saying doesn't make any sense. Like, he's talking about, like, how we're over-focusing on SJWs. Why can't we focus on both?
You can! Who said you couldn't focus on both? When did I say you couldn't focus on anything you wanted to? In fact, it would be awesome if you guys equally focused on both. It would be a huge improvement if the skeptic community equally focused both on social justice warriors and the fact that insane Christian Tea Partiers have taken over our entire government and are enacting the most conservative plan in our lifetime. But unfortunately, in my opinion, that's not what's happening right now. The major focus seems to be on the social justice warriors still, and a very minor focus is being paid to the fact that Tea Party Christians have taken over our government and are enacting the most conservative legislation in our lifetime. Once again, you guys are just straight out lying about what my position is. What else you guys got to say?
Why do you, but you act like if Hillary Clinton was elected, she'd have been this great, oh my god, she's going to solve global warming with some fucking lame-ass, like a little fucking carbon tax. And,
which never would have passed, let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, this issue would not have been addressed by Hillary Clinton. No. She was a puppet for fucking Wall Street. Don't act like, I mean, Hillary Clinton would have fucking would have talked the talk, but she wasn't willing to walk the walk on climate change any more than fucking Trump.
You guys notice how quick these guys are to defend Trump? I didn't mention Hillary Clinton at all. I'm simply talking about what our new President Trump plans about doing on global warming. But this is what Trump defenders do every time. They go, but Hillary! And they immediately change the subject to Hillary Clinton. No! Trump is president now. We are allowed to talk about what Trump is doing without you changing the subject to Hillary Clinton. If Hillary Clinton became president and she was doing exactly the same shit Donald Trump was doing right now, I would say exactly the same shit about her I'm saying about Donald Trump. Changing the subject to Hillary Clinton so we're not allowed to criticize Donald Trump is an incredibly transparent tactic. Number 2, saying Hillary Clinton would not be better on the environment is fucking insane. It's almost like you guys have never actually gone and read their official platforms. Hillary Clinton is miles better than Donald Trump on this. Hillary Clinton absolutely would not have rolled back Obama's climate change initiatives. Hillary Clinton absolutely would not have put a global warming denier as the head of the EPA. Hillary Clinton absolutely was more progressive and liberal about global warming than Donald Trump. No one is saying that she would have solved global warming. Of course not. But we have to do whatever we can to help, and she was clearly better on this issue. Denying that makes you look untrustworthy. So next.
Can I ask Ben a question? Ben, you're an opinionated guy. You know what you believe, right?
Yeah.
How many times have you had your mind changed in your life by somebody walking up to you and going, hey, man, you care too much about this. Care more about this?
Never.
No, I don't think anyone's ever had the experience.
Pretty much almost no one would be convinced by that.
My point in asking Ben that question is that's what Dusty's selling here. He's selling a world where you have to be more concerned about what he thinks you should be. Like,
no. You guys saw what I said for yourself. You know he is lying about my position. I definitely didn't say you have to believe what I believe. I specifically said the exact opposite of that in the video they're critiquing right now. If they would just shut the fuck up and watch the goddamn video, they would see that for themselves. But look, folks, I'm not trying to tell anybody what kind of videos they should make. That's not my business to fucking tell you what to make. That's not my business to tell you what to watch, and I don't have the moral authority to do that. All I can do is point out the problem as I see it, and then focus on what I can do personally to make things better, and that's what I want to do. But somehow they managed to cut off the video before I actually say this and prove they're lying about my positions. And this is exactly why so much of their fan base was very disappointed in them for this, because a lot of their fan base actually watches my videos too, and they know what my positions are, they know what I said, and they know that they're outright lying about what I said. But go ahead, what else you guys got?
You know, if you want to go after the Christian right, who's fucking stopping you from doing that?
Nobody. Shit.
Who's fucking stopping you?
Nobody. Nobody's stopping me. I never said anybody was stopping me ever. This is another straw man you built for some reason. In fact, I've said the exact opposite. This is what I'm personally going to do, and this is what I am doing. I personally plan on focusing my little spotlight on the crazy Christian conservatives who have taken over our government. You guys are simply lying about my position in order to try to make me look bad. What else you got?
So saying free speech is not an important issue is ridiculous. This is just as important as global warming, because only if people can talk openly and honestly about climate change will anything ever be done about it.
Right, and that's why I never said you shouldn't talk about free speech. I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. It's another straw man you're just pulling out of your ass. Next.
Hey, Dusty, let me ask you a question, Dusty. What can you possibly do to stop Trump when Trump is president? As you said, one of the most powerful people in the world, Trump is president, there's a Republican Congress, and there's a Republican Senate. What are you going to do to stop it? Dusty, you can bitch and moan all day long. They don't care.
You can expose them. Obviously. Believe it or not, even the president bows to public opinion. The spotlight is a very powerful weapon, and we can actually burn our enemies down with the spotlight. That's exactly what you guys do with social justice warriors. It's exactly the same thing we can do with Donald Trump. But if he will not change his opinion, if he still does this bad shit that he's doing, then we can focus the spotlight on him and educate the electorate, and maybe 4 years from now, we can vote his ass out of office. Like, to be totally honest with you, I don't even really understand this argument. Next.
All this stuff. All I have to do is find issues that you're not talking about, Dusty. I can make the same argument to you. Dusty, why are you talking about this?
Why are you talking about these people starving, Dusty?
Well, what about these people here, Dusty? Why are you talking about this situation?
I mean, yeah, you're talking about global warming, Dusty. There are people right now
it's genocide.
that need food. They need food right now and water right now. Dusty, why are you talking about global warming, which ain't going to kill the world for another 200 or 300, 400 years? There are people right now starving,
right
Dusty.
now, dying of disease, Dusty.
Woman is being raped right now somewhere, Dusty. Why aren't you talking about that?
This is kind of another silly point to me. This has an obvious answer. Obviously, I've built up a niche with my audience, and obviously whatever you talk about has to kind of fit in that niche to entertain your audience. And I'm not really sure how to make content about rape and starving children that fits into my particular niche and entertains my audience. In my opinion, the most meaningful change I can personally make in my niche is to expose what the crazy Christian conservatives who have taken over our government are doing. I personally don't know how to use my platform in any meaningful way to change rape, but I do know how to use my platform to expose what crazy Christians are doing in a meaningful way, so that's what I'm going to focus on. What else? Let's hear it.
If global warming is more important than SJWs, which I agree that it is,
and you've made videos about,
then why not make a video about that instead of this video about how too many people are talking about SJWs?
That's exactly what this video is. I made this video specifically to point out what a problem global warming was. That's exactly what I'm doing here. Yes, I had to put the word social justice warriors in the title to trick people into watching it, but this video is literally meant to point out global warming and the wrong direction we're going. I'm literally doing the thing with this video that you're asking me why I'm not doing. Very strange, very strange. What else you guys got?
I mean, you're entitled to have your opinion that this is a bunch of bullshit and doesn't matter. And you know what? You make those videos all day long, but don't expect you to come to us or anyone else on the internet and say, no, you have to make the content I want you to make. That's ridiculous. It's silly and stupid.
I totally agree. That's why that's exactly what I didn't do. You're fucking lying about what my opinion is. If you just watch the fucking video that's on your screen right now, you would see that I said exactly the opposite of that, and you're being dishonest about it. But look, folks, I'm not trying to tell anybody what kind of videos they should make. That's not my business to fucking tell you what to make. That's not my business to tell you what to watch, and I don't have the moral authority to do that. What else you got?
Yeah, guys, you did a great job stealing my idea for putting out T-shirts. It's like, Dusty, You didn't invent the idea of fucking putting out a T-shirt for an intellectual property.
Can you admit that was a stupid thing to say? Like, you didn't come up with T-shirts. People were doing it for so fucking long before you were even born. Come on, dude. You didn't come up with this idea.
And this is how you know these guys are just trying to find anything they can possibly think of to put me down, even the most ridiculous, minuscule bullshit. So here's what happened. These dudes asked me to come to New Orleans to do a split Cult of Dusty Drunken Peasants meetup with our fans, which I was happy to do. So I went out to New Orleans, I hung out with these guys, and the whole time it was actually cool. And so we're all hanging out, and I make a very obvious joke. A joke I can't believe that these guys didn't know was an obvious joke. And the reason I can't believe that they didn't know that is because TJ actually sold t-shirts before I did. He was selling t-shirts, I think, before I even started my channel. And he knows that I know that he sold t-shirts before I did because we've had conversations about it. So when I made a very obvious joke about them stealing my t-shirt idea, I never in a million years thought they would take it anything more than the obvious joke it was. I mean, TJ literally was selling shirts before I was. It was very obvious I was joking. And to make it even more obvious I was joking, right after I said that, I immediately tried to explain to these guys how they can make an additional $5 a shirt by switching their production method to mass production. To which TJ says, "Hey, don't give your competition all your secrets." To which I replied, "I don't see you guys as competition. As far as I'm concerned, we're all in this together." That was exactly the conversation we had. There was a 0 chance in any way these guys thought I was serious about them stealing my t-shirt idea, and they're being completely dishonest right now by what they're saying. They're simply just trying to think of anything they can possibly think of to make me look like a piece of shit, and they're being dishonest about it. So look, I completely understand why a lot of their fan base was very disappointed in them for this. A lot of their fan base watches my videos too, and they know they were outright lying about what my positions are. And a lot of their fan base is going to me and ask me, why are they behaving this way towards you? Well, the answer is actually very simple. I'm going to break character a little bit. I'm going to do a shoot interview, and I'm going to explain to you guys exactly why the Drunken Peasants are behaving this way towards me. It's because it's all fucking fake. These guys are huge professional wrestling nerds, and all they're doing is cutting wrestling promos against my video. The Drunken Peasants is a comedy show. It's not meant to be taken that seriously. Me and Ben actually talked about this when we were hanging out in New Orleans. For whatever reason, the Drunken Peasants audience loves to hate me. In professional wrestling terms, I'm like a heel for the Drunken Peasants audience. And I actually totally get it, because I'm sort of a fucking douche. So all that's happening here is their fans wanted them to watch this video and make fun of me about it. But unfortunately for them, my positions are actually really reasonable, and they couldn't really attack my actual positions. So instead, they were sort of forced to be dishonest and make up a straw man to attack instead of my actual positions. That's all that's happening here. They're pandering to their audience who doesn't like me and wants to see them rip me to shreds. When I was in New Orleans hanging out with Paul, we actually talked about me being the bad guy in their movie, Palumbo, they're thinking about making, for exactly this reason. Their fans love to hate me. And I totally understand why they're doing it. The Drunken Peasants do like 60 or 70 shows a week. They have a lot of time to fill. And really, they need more interesting bad guys than they already have. And to be honest with you guys, I don't take offense to it at all. I'm a huge wrestling nerd myself. I watched wrestling growing up, and I always thought the bad guys were cooler. The heels look so much funner to play to me than the good guys. So I actually sort of like being the heel to the Drunken Peasants audience. With this new look, I actually sort of look like the heel. Dusty the White is the fucking perfect heel to go against the Drunken Peasants. Maybe I can go on from time to time and help those guys keep that show from being such a circle jerk. But the only reason I'm pointing this out is because a lot of their audience doesn't seem to be in on the fact that it's just a show. It's like back in the old days when wrestling fans were marks and didn't realize wrestling was all fake. A lot of their fans don't actually realize this is fake. In fact, Scotty is the one who talks the most shit about me. But when I was hanging out with him in New Orleans, multiple times he came over and he put his arm around my neck like this, told me how cool he thought I was, and 3 different occasions he literally begged me to come to Las Vegas with him and hang out. So it's all fucking fake. It's all totally fake. And in fact, full disclosure, I actually am the one who owns Amazing Atheist website. I literally am the one who have been running his website for years and helping to build it up. The more successful he is, the more famous he is, the more money I make. His success is literally my success. All the shit talk is just part of the show. Which reminds me, I have a question for TJ's brother. Hey TJ's brother, if TJ would have never been born, which grocery store do you think you'd be sacking groceries at right now? Hell, I'm actually going on the Drunken Peasants this Wednesday. And really, the only reason I'm going on there is to audition for Paul's job when he has a heart attack any fucking second now. So be sure to tune into the Drunken Peasants this Wednesday. where I'll be whooping their monkey asses with logic. If you smell what logic is cooking. Fuck yes!